A powerful man in Russia recently gave a very serious warning about the country's economy. This man is German Gref. He is the CEO of Sberbank, which is Russia's biggest bank. Many people in Russia, including President Vladimir Putin, listen to his economic advice. Because of his important position and his close ties to the government, his words carry a lot of weight. So when he spoke, many people listened carefully. On September 4, 2025, German Gref made a surprising statement. He said that Russia's economy has entered technical stagnation. This means the economy has stopped growing. It is not moving forward. He made this announcement at a major event in Vladivostok, the Eastern Economic Forum. Such a direct and negative assessment from someone so high up was very unusual. Mr. Gref warned that if nothing changes soon, Russia's economy will fall into a recession. A recession means the economy gets smaller, jobs are lost, and life becomes harder for many people. To stop this, he said the Central Bank of Russia must cut interest rates immediately. Interest rates are like the price of borrowing money. If they are too high, businesses cannot afford to borrow and the economy cannot grow. He pointed out that the current interest rate is very high, at 18%. He strongly believes this rate is holding the economy back. He argued that the rate must go down significantly to 12% or even lower. If this big cut does not happen, he warned of a severe economic collapse. This was a very strong and urgent call for action. The warning from German Gref was a shock because it came from inside Russia's most powerful economic circles. Usually, leaders in Russia do not speak so openly about big problems. His words showed that serious concerns are growing, even among those closest to the country's leadership. This makes his warning incredibly important for understanding Russia's current situation. 2. The man with the warning. German Gref is a very important person in Russia. He is the CEO of Sberbank, which is Russia's biggest bank. Sberbank holds a lot of the country's money, about 1/3 of all the money in Russian banks. This means what Mr. Gref says is very important for Russia's economy and its future. Before he became the head of Sberbank, Gref worked for the government. He was Russia's economy minister from 2000 to 2007. In this role, he helped create many economic policies. These policies helped Russia's economy grow strong in the years after the Soviet Union. He is known for making Sberbank a modern and successful bank from an old state institution. Mr. Gref also has a close relationship with President Vladimir Putin. Their connection goes back many years. Many people in Russia think Gref is one of the few people who can speak honestly with President Putin about economic problems. This makes his opinions very powerful and heard by important leaders. Because of his high position at the biggest bank, his past as a minister, and his connection to the president, Gref's words carry a lot of weight. When he speaks, people listen. His recent warning was very surprising because he gave it at a big event called the Eastern Economic Forum. This forum is usually a place to show how well Russia's economy is doing. But Gref gave a very different message. He said the economy was not doing well and faced big problems. This public warning was very unusual. It was surprising because it came from a leader inside Russia who usually supports the government's positive view. His words showed a real worry about Russia's economic path. 3. The interest rate problem. The economy in Russia has entered what German Gref called technical stagnation. This means the economy has stopped growing. It is not getting bigger or creating more wealth. Instead, it is staying almost the same with very little change. In some months, like July and August, the growth was nearly zero. This is a big change from before when the economy was growing much faster. This lack of growth is a serious problem for the country. One main reason for this problem is the central bank's interest rate. The interest rate is very high at 18%. The central bank set this high rate to fight inflation. Inflation means that prices for goods and services go up too fast. When the government spends a lot of money, especially on things like the military, it can make prices rise quickly. The central bank wants to stop these rising prices, but this high interest rate makes it very difficult for businesses. When the interest rate is 18%, borrowing money is very expensive. Companies need to borrow money to start new projects, buy new machines, or hire more workers. With such high costs, businesses cannot afford to borrow. This means they cannot grow and they cannot create new jobs. Only government-sponsored military factories receive enough money. Other parts of the economy struggle to get loans to grow. German Gref believes that this high rate is hurting the economy too much. He says that if the rate stays at 18%, Russia risks a serious economic collapse. To avoid this, he argues that the central bank must cut the interest rate. He wants the rate to go down to 12% or even lower. If the rate is cut, borrowing money will become cheaper. This would help businesses. They could then borrow money more easily, invest in their companies, and help the economy start growing again. Gref warns that without this change, the country faces a very difficult economic future. 4. The war and money. Russia's economy experienced a strange time because of the war. For a while, it seemed like the country was doing very well. The government poured a lot of money into the military. This meant huge orders for new weapons, vehicles, and equipment. Factories that make defense goods started working non-stop, often day and night. This massive spending quickly boosted economic numbers. For example, in 2024, the economy grew by 4.3%. This growth created many new jobs in defense factories. People who worked in these jobs often received higher wages. This made many believe that the economy was strong and resilient, even with challenges from other countries. However, this feeling of strength was misleading. This type of growth was not real or lasting. It created a false sense of prosperity. The money was being spent mostly on things that do not help the country's long-term economic health. It was like taking resources from one area to boost another without creating new wealth. The war economy pulled important resources away from everyday industries. Many factories that used to make things for regular people, like household goods, farm equipment, or items for export, were converted to military production. This meant there were fewer such goods for people to buy and less for Russia to sell to other countries. Also, many workers were needed for the military or for the busy defense factories. This led to serious labor shortages in other parts of the economy. Skilled workers, engineers, and technicians left civilian companies to work in the defense sector. This made it very hard for businesses outside the military to find enough people. Companies in construction, agriculture, and services struggled to hire staff. This lack of workers meant these civilian industries could not produce as much or grow. It also led to higher wages in some non-defense jobs, making things more expensive for businesses. The focus on military production also meant less investment in new ideas and technologies for civilian uses. Research and development efforts were directed towards war needs, causing innovation in other sectors to slow down. The economy became too dependent on the government's military spending. This kind of growth is not sustainable. It causes long-term damage by weakening the non-military parts of the economy. Eventually, this strategy leads to deeper problems, not true, lasting prosperity. 5. The government has no money. Russia's government is facing big money problems. Its budget now shows a large deficit, meaning it spends much more than it takes in. By mid-2025, this deficit was already larger than planned for the entire year. This bad situation is growing quickly. Government spending has increased significantly. In the first 7 months of 2025, it spent over 20% more than last year. Much of this money goes to military operations. However, the government's total income has not grown, staying almost the same. A big part of Russia's income comes from selling oil and gas. But this money has fallen sharply, almost 19% in 7 months. This is due to lower global oil prices and a stronger ruble, which reduces local currency income. Attacks on energy facilities and international sanctions also cut these earnings, often forcing Russia to sell its oil at lower prices. Income from other parts of the economy has also not grown much. Businesses outside the military sector are struggling, paying fewer taxes. People are spending less, meaning less tax money from sales. To cover spending, the government sells bonds, which are like loans. It also uses money from its special savings fund, the National Wealth Fund. This fund grew when oil prices were high. Now it is getting smaller very fast. Experts think it could be empty in just 2 or 3 years if this spending continues. This lack of money creates more problems. Much government borrowing can increase borrowing costs for all businesses, stopping their growth. The government's need for funds also makes it harder for the central bank to lower interest rates. If rates are too low, lenders might not buy government bonds. This makes Russia's economic situation more difficult. 6. The central bank's hard choice. The Central Bank of Russia faced a very hard choice. Its leader, Elvira Nabiullina, had to make a big decision about the country's money. She walked a difficult path, trying to keep prices stable while also helping the economy grow. The current interest rate was high, at 18%. The central bank had set this rate to fight inflation. Inflation meant prices for goods and services were rising fast, making everything more expensive for people and businesses. This was partly because the government was spending a lot on the military. The central bank believed these high rates were necessary to cool the economy down. They wanted inflation, which was around 8.8% in August 2025, to slow down to a target of 4% by 2026. In fact, the rate had been even higher, reaching a two-decade high of 21% in late 2024. But keeping rates so high created another big problem. German Gref, the CEO of Sberbank, had given a strong warning. He said that 18% was too high and was stopping the economy from growing. It made it too costly for businesses to borrow money, so they could not invest or expand. Only military production seemed to get enough money. Gref insisted the rate must drop to 12% or even lower. If not, he warned, Russia's economy would fall into a deep recession. So Elvira Nabiullina and the central bank had to choose. If they cut interest rates a lot, as Gref wished, inflation might get much worse. Prices could rise out of control, making people's savings worth less. This would also make the central bank look like it could not control the economy, hurting its credibility. But if Nabiullina kept the rates high to control prices, businesses would continue to struggle severely. The economy might crash, leading to many job losses and closed companies, just as Gref had predicted. The pressure on Nabiullina was immense. Gref's public warning, coming from such an important figure close to the president, was very significant. Business leaders and regional officials across Russia were also asking for lower rates. The central bank had an important meeting soon. This meeting would show which path Nabiullina and her team would take. It was a choice between controlling rising prices and trying to save the economy from a deep fall. Both decisions carried big risks for Russia's future. 7. The world is watching. The world watches Russia's economic problems closely. Many countries put sanctions on Russia. These sanctions are rules that make it hard for Russia to do business with other nations. They stop access to important things like technology, money, and markets. This makes it very difficult for the Russian economy to grow. One big problem is finance. Many Russian banks cannot use SWIFT, a system for sending money around the world quickly. Also, Russia's money that was held in other countries is now frozen. This makes it hard for Russian companies to get money or make international payments. It also means less money for Russia to use in a crisis. Technology is another area hit by sanctions. Russia cannot easily buy modern computer chips, special software, or advanced machines. This makes it hard to build new cars, fix airplanes, or update factories. Russian companies often have to use older technology or find expensive ways to get parts. This slows down their growth and makes things cost more. It means less innovation for the country. Sanctions also hurt Russia's energy sales. Russia sells a lot of oil and gas to other countries, but sanctions and price limits mean Russia earns less money from these sales. It is also hard to get the right technology to keep energy production strong for the future. These problems mean Russia's economy struggles to grow. Companies cannot easily find new markets or new technologies. This makes everything more difficult and less effective, leading to a kind of economic isolation for the country. Russia's troubles do not stay inside its borders. They affect the whole world. For example, Russia sells much oil and gas. When Russia has problems, global energy prices can change. Russia also sells a lot of grain. If Russia cannot sell its grain, food prices in other countries might go up. Russia also makes many metals and other raw materials. Problems there can affect factories all over the world. Countries like China and India, which trade with Russia, also face complex situations. So, the world is watching closely. Russia's economic choices and problems have a big effect on many people and countries far away. 8. What happens next? German Gref's strong warning showed Russia's economy is in big trouble. It is not just a small problem. Russia's way of managing money is not working well anymore. Simply cutting interest rates will not fix everything. The country faces deep problems because of the war and international sanctions. There are not enough workers in some jobs, the government has less money, and getting new technology is hard. These are big changes that need more than just one easy fix. What happens next for Russia can go in different ways. In one way, the central bank might listen to Gref and cut interest rates a lot. This could help businesses borrow money more easily and make the economy grow faster for a short time. But it could also make prices go up even more, which is called inflation. Things would become more expensive for everyone. In a second way, the central bank might keep interest rates high. They would do this to stop prices from going up too fast. This would mean the economy stays slow and businesses might not grow much. But at least prices would stay steady, giving people more trust in their money. A third way is that things get much worse. If the government runs out of money, or if problems from sanctions get even bigger, the economy could crash fast. The government might have to make emergency rules, like controlling how much money people can spend or moving money around in a hurry. Finally, Russia might try to change slowly over many years. It would try to find new friends for trade and make more things inside the country. Life might become harder for a while, and the economy would grow very slowly. But in time, Russia might find a new balance. No matter what happens, the outcome will be very important for Russia and the world. It could change how countries trade oil and gas, how much food costs, and even how countries get along. The next few months will show which way Russia begins to go. Which of these 4 paths do you think Russia will take and why?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.